Government bid stuff, I'll be.
What's another 15 minutes waiting on Little Perry?
I'd like to welcome you all here tonight. We are just a couple of minutes away from beginning the meeting, and before we begin, I'll ask you to stand, invite you to stand and join me in the pledge, and then I'll bring the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you've given us. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Thank you for every resident that's here in our meeting tonight, for all of the city staff and all those that support the city. God, we thank you for the council and ask that you give them wisdom, give all of us wisdom as we deal with issues tonight. We trust you for that now and give you this time in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. I'd like to welcome you again to this regular meeting of the Springdale City Council. Before I call the meeting to order, I'm going to turn it over to the city attorney, Ernest Cate, and he is going to oversee a public hearing here.
Thank you, Mayor. We have an item on the agenda tonight calling for the abandonment of a portion of a drainage easement. It's on the Aldi's property on South Thompson. The state statute requires that before you can take up this ordinance that we have to hold a public hearing to see if there's any public comment. So I will ask if there's anyone here.
Your microphone on, Ernest?
It says it is. I'm just soft-spoken.
Just soft-spoken.
Your
So-
weak voice.
So if there's anyone here that wishes to be heard on the issue of vacating a portion of the drainage easement on the Aldi's property, now's the time to speak. If not, I'll close the public hearing and we'll take up the ordinance on the agenda.
Okay. Thank you, Ernest.
Thank you.
We do have large print agendas over here. If that would be beneficial to anyone, you're welcome to get one. So I'll now call this meeting to order and ask our city clerk to start things off by calling the roll.
Mayor Sprouse?
Here.
Amelia Williams? Jeff Watson?
Here.
Mike Overton?
Here.
Colby Fulfer?
Here.
Mike Lawson? Rick Evans?
Here.
Brian Powell?
Here.
Kathy Jaycox?
Here.
Ernest Cate?
Here.
All right. Thank you. And we're at item 5. I'm going to ask Ashley to come forward, and we're going to recognize this year's Youth Council.
Okay, my name is Ashley Earhart, and I'm the Youth Council Coordinator. And we're just going to take a few minutes to recognize our students that have graduated our program. They did excellent work, and they really rose to the challenge of a pretty difficult program. So I'm going to call their names one by one. Our first candidate, I guess, would be Kinley Despain. She's not here tonight. Our second is Anna Claire Hay.
Council, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay. Autumn Kennedy.
Congratulations.
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 Matthew Kibben.
Hey, look at there.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Grady Kitterman.
Ready? Forward seat again.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Peyton Locke.
Not enough, you can give me those. Okay. Congratulations.
Liza Montgomery.
Congratulations.
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 Riley Mulligan.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Rob.
Eric Soto.
Congratulations, Eric.
Congratulations.
And last but definitely not least, Alika White.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Anything?
I'm just going to ask the parents to stand.
Congratulations. Yeah.
You don't have to tell everybody, Ernest.
Good luck.
All right, thank you, Ashley, and thank you all. I'd like to, before we recognize the students one more time, any family members, I know you've supported this as well. If there are any family members, would you please stand and be recognized also? That's great. Thank you for your support, and to each of our graduates, thank you for your work and for your participation in the program. And I hope it was a good experience for you, and sure was for those of us who were privileged to be involved with you. So thank you again, and congratulations. All right, now is Scott here? There he is. I'll ask Scott Edmondson to come and bring the Economic Development Quarterly Report.
Thank you, Mayor Sprouse. I left each of you a copy of the first quarter of 2019 report, and a lot of good things going on, continue to go on here in Springdale. We've worked with numerous prospects in the last several months on possible locations in Springdale, and those are varying from manufacturing, retail, restaurants. So one to note in particular with one of our existing manufacturers was Profab of Northwest Arkansas. They're located on Turnbow Avenue, and they purchased 2.3 acres on Turnbow Avenue from the Public Facilities Board for an expansion of their facility. So we're working with them on the building project. Highway 265 work continues and is nearing completion, and hopefully in the next several weeks, traffic will be on that. And of course, you know, that crosses Public Facilities Board property there north of Kendrick Avenue. Our job numbers are very strong. The most recent number released by the Department of Workforce Services shows already 900 plus new jobs in 2019. So we'll see. Some of those numbers are final, some are preliminary, so we'll see how that holds out. But it's certainly a great start to the year. Our sales tax totals are up in March, 10% increase over March of 18, and year-to-date receipts are over 7% higher than year-to-date in 2018. Our unemployment rate still remains as one of the lowest in the state at 2.9%. A few other announcements. We'll note that Mercy Health project's continuing and hopefully be up and running in September, late September. And then TrueTrack Flight Systems, who's located, they're based at the Springdale Airport. They received certification, or basically like a patent to sell additional autopilot systems on Cessnas and Pipers, and they, as the note says, they already have 100 pre-orders for those. So it's great to see what Andrew Barker and his group's doing out there at the airport. Work continues on the call center. Initially, 700 jobs moving into the old Sam's Club building, and with a good possibility of an additional hires coming down the road in that.
Are those would those be in these job numbers? They wouldn't be in these job numbers yet?
No, sir, not yet,
Okay.
because they haven't. No, sir.
Started yet? Right.
So,
Okay.
Level 5 Design, they opened their offices. They're on Holcomb, and the building has been remodeled by Daniel Hentz. So it's good to have them downtown. White Spider, as you might have seen, has announced their location downtown, and then Sandwich Loves coming to where Natural State Sandwiches were located. And then Pace of the Ozarks, they held their grand opening out on the west side of town for their healthcare group. So it was great to have them in town. Some of our rankings, the metropolitan area moved up from 5th to 4th in the U.S. News and World Report 2019 Best Places to Live. The Chamber recently, we had a bomb threat seminar for local businesses. We had over 50 people attend it that heard from FBI Special Agent J.T. Coleman on on preparations and what to do in the event of a bomb threat. We're also working, planning's going on for the 4th annual ACES conference that'll take place this summer, and that's the workforce conference that we hold with the career and technical educators in the Springdale School District, that they get to meet 3 days alongside our manufacturers to try to learn the skills needs of our manufacturing sector. So,
Good.
off to a good start. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them. So,
Would you all make it a point to contact the local electronic media when one of these awards comes to the region?
sure.
So they don't just say it's Fayetteville?
Right. Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. Will do. Thank you.
All right, we'll move along to comments from citizens. This is item 7 on the agenda. If the council sets aside a portion of the meeting, each meeting, for to hear comments from our citizens that might have to do with items that are not already on tonight's agenda. We just ask that you come to the microphone, please state your name and address, and please keep your comments brief. Is there anyone that would like to address the council concerning an item that's not on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item 8, the approval of minutes. Council, hopefully you've had an opportunity to look over those. If there are no changes or additions, I would entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Item 9, what's your pleasure on procedural motions, council?
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second for A and B. Roll call, please.
Jaycox? Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Fulfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Howe?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 10. I'm going to turn this over to Ernest.
This is the ordinance releasing, vacating, and abandoning a portion of a drainage easement located on property in Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas, to declare an emergency and for other purposes. This
Order
is
to
the,
pass.
what we had the public hearing on earlier.
We have a motion.
Second.
Rick Evans, and a second. Kathy? All right, any other discussion, questions? I'll ask again if anybody in the room needs to speak to this. All right, Denise?
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Fulfer? Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Howe?
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
First clause be adopted.
Second.
Overton?
Yes.
Fulfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Howe?
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Both the ordinance and emergency clause carry 7-0.
All right, thank you. Item 11. I'll go ahead and read this, Wyman, while you're coming, in case they have questions. A resolution authorizing the temporary operation of a carnival. Any
Move the
questions for
resolution.
Wyman?
Move the resolution pass.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? It's not at City Hall, right?
It's pretty much the same, isn't it the same one that's been there for years that comes, and it rains every time they're here?
Pardon me?
It's the same,
It's I asked if it was the same group that comes every year, where it rains every year for them.
It is the same one that comes each year.
Let's just hope they don't have rain.
all right. Anyone in the audience need to speak to this? Okay, Denise?
Fulfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Howe?
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
All right. Item 12, Planning Commission report and recommendations. Patsy Christie, Director of Planning and Community Development. Patsy?
The first item is a request to rezone property located at 3525 Butterfield Coach Road. It's a .26 acre tract. The request is to rezone the property from Agricultural District A1 to High Density Single Family Residential District SF3. Planning Commission recommends approval of the rezoning request. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto by rezoning certain lands from Agricultural District A1 to High Density Single Family Residential District SF3 and declaring an emergency.
Order to pass.
Second. Patsy, could you remind us what the density will be in an SF?
F3.
I think it's no more than, I have to look at that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Record.
Sorry, Doug. If I'd known that was important, I would have waited.
Asking, years ago, I could quote that kind of stuff, but now I don't do that near as much because it gets me in trouble every time.
We really don't see SF3 that much.
No, we don't see SF3
Why I
very often.
asked.
Yes.
Trying to make you feel better.
That's a section she just made up. Don't worry about it.
Wouldn't fit.
No, I didn't make it up. SF3 is medium-density, single-family residential. It allows for 6 units per acre. The smallest lot size for a single-family house is 60 foot of frontage with 7,000 square feet, and we don't have very many. And quite honestly, to fit this, the gentleman wants to add on to his house. That's the size lot it was. So we did it SF3.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? We do have a motion and a second. Anyone in the audience need to speak to this? Okay, Denise?
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Howe,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes. First clause be adopted.
Second.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Howe,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
Again, these ordinances have emergency clause because they're pending actions on these pieces of property. Mark? Go to the next one, please. The next request is to rezone 1.5 acres located at 117 East County Line Road. The request is to rezone the property from General Commercial District C2 and Low Medium Density Multifamily Residential District MF4 to Light Industrial District I1. Planning Commission recommends approval of this rezoning request. Mark, will you go to the next slide? As you can see, most of the area around it is industrial. The MF4 that was there was kind of an anomaly by itself. And so over the years, it kind of continued on that. Now we're kind of correcting that area. Planning Commission recommends approval. Title of the ordinance reads an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto, by rezoning certain lands from General Commercial District C2 and Low Medium Density Multifamily Residential District MF4 to Light Industrial District I1 and declaring an emergency.
Pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further questions or discussion? Anyone in the audience? All right, Denise?
Howe,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Howe,
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
The next item is a request to rezone .51 acres located at 738 North 40th Street. The drawing that you see up there is slightly larger than what you see on your map in there. They have included an area across the creek for additional parking, so we're rezoning that area to include that as well. It's not really a creek, it's a drainage ditch, it's not really a creek. But the acreage is about .5 acres. They are requesting to rezone the property from General Commercial District C2 to Thoroughfare Commercial District C5. Planning Commission recommends approval of the rezoning request. Title of the ordinance reads an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto, by rezoning certain lands from General Commercial District C2 to Thoroughfare Commercial District C5 and declaring an emergency. Mark, will you go to the next slide, please?
Is this because they want to drive through?
Yes. And you'll see there's kind of a mixture in that whole area, but that's why it went to C5. Yeah, they need it there. And we do have a large-scale development plan that has a drive-through window included as part of it.
Orders do pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there other questions? Anyone?
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Howe,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes. Move the emergency clause pass.
Overton,
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Howe,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
The next item is a request for approval of a conditional use for a use unit 14, which is a residential manufactured housing to be allowed on this tract located on 3201 Cook Lane. Planning Commission reviewed this request to allow this manufactured home to be at this location with the condition that they must provide gravel parking spaces for 2 vehicles as part of this approval for the conditional use. The title of the resolution reads, "A resolution approving a conditional use for Sherry Elam at 3201 Cook Lane is set forth in ordinance number 4030."
Move the resolution pass.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve resolution. Any other comments or questions? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Carries 7-0.
All right. Item 13, Parks and Recreation Committee Report and Recommendations. Chairman Mike Lawson. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. We've got 2 items we met last week. One's a resolution, one's an ordinance. I believe both were recommended for approval. The first one is a resolution authorizing the execution of an engineering services contract for the redesign of the Randall Tyson Sports Complex. And the committee did recommend approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Carries 7-0.
Second item, we had a ordinance, and it was recommended for approval as well. It's an ordinance to waive competitive bidding for the removal of the elevated walking track at Sports Complex, which is the new next level. Like I said, it was recommended for approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions?
Mayor, I've got a question. I remember we had some kind of discussion about if we were going to hold them to the 3 weeks or the 2 weeks that they said they could do, but I don't recall what we finalized in that committee meeting.
Wyman,
Contract's 3 weeks.
the contract is 3 weeks. We've got the contract now.
The contractor said they could do it in 2 weeks, but Mr. Watson wanted to give them 3 weeks.
Right. And are there,
Because it sounded good to him.
There are.
we added the week, but then we also added liquidated damages.
Even the rule of threes.
$400 a day.
Obviously you do.
$400 a day.
$400
So
a
that's an
day.
incentive.
Okay, all right, good deal. Okay. Other questions? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0. So
Okay, before we move to item 14, and Ernest just noticed this, we've got a resolution here. This was in an amended agenda that was sent out, but it's not on the agenda that's printed before you tonight. Did everyone receive this amended agenda? Lorinda, did the press didn't receive it? She sent it on Friday. She sent an amended agenda.
We got it in our emails. We got it in our emails then.
Yeah. This came about after committee meeting last Monday, and it is time sensitive because they're hoping to pave before our next committee meeting. So this is a change order. It would actually determine that doing just the one lane on each side, where in front of NWAC is going to be, it's not going to be the best product because the existing surface is it's damaged and aging, and it just makes a lot of sense to go ahead and do both lanes. But it would be a $60,000 change order that would also come out of the bond.
The only question I had, Mayor, is that did we not know that condition of that going in?
I assume not. That's all I can do. I don't know.
My only other question then, Mayor, is...
It would have been more money up front. We just wouldn't have the change.
Well, I
order.
know, but, you know, we always get these surprises. Looks like we would kind of have an indication, particularly since we knew that we were going to be widening the
Yeah.
street. We should have, had been,
Honestly, we probably should have thought of that. I should have thought of that too. It doesn't make sense to do half the lanes to me. But
This was kind of a unique project, and it was joint with the community college, and the people putting it together weren't necessarily the same people that normally put the road projects
yeah,
together.
I understand, but also we knew that we had a street that's put into our standards, and I'm just surprised that it's still not up to standard when we do the widening. I understand the rationale for it.
I think we should have.
I'm just
Quite
surprised.
honestly, I think we should have.
So what,
Community college involved in that?
This will be on our nickel, not theirs, because they were gonna, their portion was to widen it to accommodate the additional lanes.
We partnered with the community college because it was we would get a better deal on the construction by combining it with their construction.
Then it all at the same time, yeah, same contractor.
It would have been a small project to bid on as a standalone.
Yeah, that wasn't my concern.
What's the last page?
Hadn't gotten that far, Jeff. Looks like that's the change order. It shows the increase there, the same increase that's in the resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry, this McClellan Engineering document.
Oh, last page.
you had that with the
Is that
construction?
something they were paying to McClellan Engineering?
Yeah, that'd be additional engineering services, because they didn't figure on stripping it off and redoing it, so that's.
But that number should be included in that,
Yeah,
in the
apparently it
change.
is. I just wondered, I mean, we never pay an engineer for milling and resurfacing, do we?
Well, we pay them for engineering of it, yeah.
For milling?
Well,
I don't know if we're about
Existing
to,
roads?
they're doing the oversight, right? This increases their scope. They're doing the oversight.
To mill?
They have to inspect the work and do
yeah,
the,
it's not just milled, it's got to be compacted too.
it's
so-
like their percentage of the job. And if the cost of the job went up 60, or almost 60,000.
Yeah.
Looks like it went up about 58,000. And then, of course, it increases the fees as well.
Well, that's why if you take the 57, then that's where it comes up to the
Well,
62.
but my point is, we mill and repave all the time.
But it's not in conjunction with the engineered restructuring of the street, though.
They have a contract for this job that pays a certain, and oversight is a certain percentage.
All the contracts are with the community college. Our agreement is just with the community college. But we're paying all this.
We're paying this, yeah, this
We're
is the
paying
extra
this
nickel
portion.
that we didn't see going
Their
in.
contracts cover a lot more than this.
Mayor, my only other question is, how does this affect the infrastructure part of the bond? Because it'll be reduced by about 60,000.
It'll affect it $60,000.
Do we have a project in mind that will be impacted by?
Huntsville, we saved about $1 million on it.
Yeah, we're just not far, we got about half the bond left that we've not committed to
That's what
any
I'm
job. So will it impact it? Well, it'll reduce that $60,000. It's hard to say. It'd be hard to say we cut it that.
So how much of Watkins is this redoing? Just the portion in front of,
It's doing from the edge of the ballpark property
To
to 64th.
the street, to the west.
and
All of it.
on the rest of it?
No, just from,
The part we already got down.
just,
Well, does that mean that the rest of Watkins needs to be redone too?
I don't know, Brad, you
Only
got
if you
an
want to
opinion
drive
on?
on it.
I think it's different when you're butting up than when you've,
This is an older section of pavement, and it's been subject to construction traffic, is why this, I understand it's been in place about 12 years.
Well, it's not any older than the rest of Watkins along there.
Yeah.
They've driven on both sides.
I'm not sure the section that's in place was built to our current standards. Because there's some deep patch associated with this.
Don't know. We don't have,
So was our original agreement that, how did the math work out on that? Did we agree to a percentage of the total project, or was it that we were going to do?
No, we agreed to the street improvements.
So that's,
We included it on their construction to save money.
okay.
I'll make a motion to that this passes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there further questions or comments? Okay, Denise?
Jaycox?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Fulfer? Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Powell?
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
All right, are there any comments from department heads? Council?
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to, I still would like to get a copy of that air sample test and the mold test that was done on the All-Star Arena. Haven't received it yet.
Okay. Wyman, the air quality test that we did on All-Star, or Next Level, whatever, our rec center.
The project.
I think Mike requested that in committee, and we need to get that to them, put it in their Dropbox, okay?
I just apologize for late arrival.
All right.
You
I
weren't
prayed for
missed,
us.
so it doesn't matter.
I appreciate that.
All right, anything from city attorney?
We need to mention the community forum on Friday, the welcoming committees.
Okay. That's
Friday, you know,
Friday afternoon at the Jones Center?
part of the grant that we received from
Right.
Tyson for the welcoming communities. We have a welcoming coordinator, and she's put together the first community forum. It's going to be at the Jones Center from 3 to 4 and then from 5 to 6 on Friday. And I know she's put the word out, but just in case anyone's watching, if they're interested in attending,
I know several of us will be participating, and so, okay.
to mention it or not.
All right, thanks, Ernest. I don't have anything.
So
Motion.
moved.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
That's not everybody go.